This is how you're going to get the best results from using azelaic acid. Now, if you're watching this and wondering what the heck is azelaic acid, don't worry, you might be new to it, but there's loads to discover. It's what we call a dicarboxylic acid, and it's actually a very natural ingredient. We can find it in grains like barley, and it occurs naturally on our skin. Now, it can benefit everyone, from those who suffer from blocked pores and acne, to those who get perioral dermatitis, to rosacea, and even hyperpigmentation. In general, almost everyone can hope to benefit from it. And it's very safe. We can even use this when pregnant and breastfeeding. So what's not to like? And it's even helpful if you just have normal skin that's looking a little bit dull. But what could you be doing wrong if you're using it to not be getting those desirable results? Well, perhaps the most common error is that you're not using it every day. Now, I think with the plethora of serums that are on the market, it is not uncommon for you to have 4 or 5 different ones on your bathroom shelf at any given time, and to almost dip into them sporadically when emotion takes you, when you feel like it, when you think, oh, I want to put on the pretty pink one. And I do think that brands like The Ordinary and the Inkey List, whilst they've done a great job of raising awareness about active ingredients, have actually done us a disservice by giving us so much choice. At the end of the day, pick 3 or 4 actives that really matter to your skin concerns, and then use them consistently. Azelaic acid is something you'll benefit most from when it's used every single day. It's a bit like exercising a muscle. You don't get the results when you decide to work out once a month. You get the results when you work out consistently. The same is true for your actives. Now, the second reason you might not be getting that all-star result is because you're not using it all over your skin. Again, I think there is a tendency to think that if you have a little problem here, you shouldn't be applying the active all over. And for ingredients like azelaic acid, niacinamide, and retinoids, which I consider to be really powerful skin conditioners, there is a lot of logic in using them beyond the area of the problem. Perhaps the most common error I see when treating things like blemishes is just targeting the individual lesion and not treating the field. And I see this with azelaic acid. Now, you'll have noted that when I talked about the things that azelaic acid can address, there was one glaring thing missing that I think many of us are interested in, and that is tackling things like fine lines and wrinkles. Now, be aware that azelaic acid is not your girl if that's what you're trying to tackle. It doesn't have any impact whatsoever on our fibroblast function, meaning it can't impact the production of important scaffolding molecules like collagen, elastin, and so on. Now, for this reason, I do not recommend using it in areas like the eye area and the neck area if you are concerned about fine lines and texture change there. There are better things to use. And then the fourth one is one that I really don't hear people talking about, and that is the way that azelaic acid can change up the way your skin behaves after you have conditioned it with it. So, for instance, I treat patients with rosacea all the time with azelaic acid. It's one of the most important active ingredients, both in terms of treating a flare in the short term and getting maintenance control in the long term. But did you know that it changes your skin sensitivity over time? And what you might not have been able to use before, you might well be able to use afterwards. And that, for me, is something that's super exciting. So those are the 4 things I think can really limit the benefits that you're getting from azelaic acid. So here's what you're going to do to try to make sure that doesn't happen. Now, firstly, let's think about that sporadic usage. What we're going to think about doing is building it up to the maximum frequency for what you're trying to tackle. Now, if that's just simply part of an anti-blemish program, you might want to do that once a day. And I think the morning slot in your skincare routine after cleansing, before moisturizer and sunscreen, is the perfect place for azelaic acid in your routine. But if you're someone trying to tackle pigmentation or redness, you might well benefit from it for twice a day. And that is the kind of dosing schedule we'll use in the clinic when we're tackling rosacea, melasma, and conditions of that nature. So you're wanting to maximize the potential for azelaic acid to either turn down the inflammation in your skin or to reduce the hyperactivity of those pigment cells, the melanocytes. This is often something I'll do at the beginning of a regime that I'm building for someone, and over time, as that immediate issue improves and gets better, I'll then reduce down to once daily application. But in lots of instances, twice a day will get you faster results and change the way your skin looks and importantly feels. If you're at all anxious about something that's got the word acid in, I think a lot of people just are naturally a little bit concerned when it comes to anything that sounds of that nature. The good thing is that nowadays we have everything from 5% azelaic acid right up to 20% azelaic acid on prescription. So if you're anxious, just start low. This is a journey. This is something that you're changing your skin over months to years even. We're not looking to do things dramatically over the course of hours or days, despite product claims. So go low, build up, always use products that are transparently labeled with how much active ingredient you're getting in them. It's something I've always stuck to with the Dr. Sam's brand. I think it's so important to know the potency of the tool that you're using so you can gauge your routine around it effectively. No need to apply more than one product with azelaic acid in it at a time, so happily use it in the morning and then separately in the evening. Brightly and nightly is a great way to go. And see how you go with that. But slow and steady wins the skincare race always. Now, in terms of how you use it, the correct way to apply it for your skin's needs, a specific application to certain zones of your face might make sense if you were looking to treat your skin in a very targeted way. We call it zoning. However, I do think that almost everyone benefits from using azelaic acid all over. The way you might think about with vitamin C, most people don't even start to question where they're putting vitamin C on their skin. I think the same is true for azelaic acid outside of that kind of eye area, neck area that I mentioned earlier. So think about using the 13 dot technique to get that easy all over application without using too much or putting too much in any one area and getting hot zones, which leads to irritation and redness. And again, just like with the retinoids, be conscious of any areas that azelaic acid might collect, whether it's the creases of the nose or any little indentations where you might have fine lines around the mouth. And again, be careful of the lips. This makes sense with active ingredients. But 13 dots gives you that nice, even field effect. So you'll get your pore clarity in the T-zone, where you might be prone to blackheads or visible pores. If you're prone to breakouts, you'll target the U of the face. If you're prone to redness, that's usually in the mid-face, and pigmentation can be just about anywhere. But with melasma, tops of cheekbones, forehead, top lip, sometimes the jawline. But in a nutshell, because it brightens and refines, you're going to benefit from using it all over. Now, we mentioned skipping the eye area and potentially the neck area too, unless you're specifically trying to tackle breakouts or pigmentation on the neck. So think about other active ingredients, and the ABC of skincare is really the easiest way to think about tackling changes around the eyes. So vitamin A being a retinoid, B being niacinamide, and vitamin C being, well, vitamin C. And of course, don't forget your sunscreen. Those are all of the things that are going to make a big difference to how much collagen is in the dermis of the skin, and that will determine how well your skin ages. Thicker skin is more crease resistant. Now, onto the issue of sort of rechecking where your skin is on the sensitivity scale. As I said, this perhaps less talked about phenomenon with azelaic acid, that skin can become less sensitive over time. And so it is worth thinking about introducing other actives. So you might have started out very simply with azelaic acid, building up to once or twice a day, particularly if you're someone who's got redness-prone skin, or perhaps you're prone to perioral dermatitis. Those are conditions where really keeping your actives to a minimum alongside a very stripped-back basic skincare routine can really stand you in good stead. But once things get better and you get stability and you get control, you then might want to evolve the routine to tackle, signs of aging, signs of sun damage. So that's where a gentle retinoid might now be something you can actually slip into your routine. One of the easiest ways to do that is to simply reduce the frequency of your azelaic at night. So you do it every other day or every third day. And at the same time, try to introduce the retinoid as well. So you're kind of slipping one thing in, another thing out, And that smooth transition with overlap is really the way to do things in a staggered, gradual fashion that should help build your confidence. So yet another video on azelaic acid, but that's because there's so much nuance to it, and I am so evangelical about making sure that if it's for you, you get the most out of it. It is one of the newer ingredients, and it might be one that maybe makes you think, is this for me? Should I try it? Should I risk it? My routine's okay. But hopefully the pointers I've given you today allow you to see where it might add value, why it might improve your skin, and some of the common caveats that you can hopefully now navigate around. All right, guys, thanks for joining me. See you again soon, and bye for now.